We're overachievers here at the University of Sydney, so I'm going to attempt 10 slides in like 5 minutes or less, just to give you an idea of what this AI is. And don't let anyone tell you this is a new thing, because it's been around for ages. If anyone asks you trivia night for, that party you're going to after this event, AI started really back in 1956, and that is quite a while ago. That is 68 years ago, more or less, when in August, back at Dartmouth in 1956, these guys got together, and it was a group of 47 blokes only, who got together to basically invent the idea of artificial intelligence. The whole deal was that we could put every aspect of learning, every feature of learning, we could describe it so a machine could understand it. Well, Sandra, what the hell does that mean? I still don't know what AI is. So, fair warning, there are cats in this very brief presentation. The idea was we could explain to machines what we know. If we try to explain to a machine what a cat is, we would tell that machine that a cat has 4 legs, and it has whiskers, and it has ears, and it has eyes, and it's got, a fluffy tail, and all that. We would encode into the machine everything we knew about cats. And there was a lot of money, a lot of excitement that was going into AI. We're in the 1950s. But very soon, some cracks started to appear in this idea that we could teach everything we know to machines, because there's a lot of cats. There's the fat cats like that one, and there's brown cats and white cats, and there's them bald cats that give people with allergies, right? And very soon we realized that, hey, we can't teach computers everything we know. We have a common sense problem. So we went about it in another way. In universities, nerds like us said, hey, there's another way we could do this. We could just show a computer a whole bunch of pictures of cats that have the label cat on them, and get the computer to figure out patterns in these pictures, so that every time we would show it a picture of a cat, it would code to the label cat. This is simply figuring out what are the common patterns that kind of make up a cat. So all this idea of learning from the machine is finding probabilistic functions that associate cats with the label cat. Lo and behold, one more thing had to happen, because this is like the 80s. That had to happen. Us taking pictures of cats with, and I don't have my phone, but it out of iPhones, and putting up all them pictures of cats, even the Picasso ones, they've got the weird eyes and everything. So we throw a lot of cat pictures at the internet. And at this point you're going, Sandra, I still don't bloody understand what AI is. Please explain this better. So I'm not going to go at it with cats, because they're quite complicated. I'm going to go at it with the number 8 very quickly. If I'm trying to get the computer to recognize the number 8. I give it a whole bunch of number 8s that I've written by hand, and I say, figure out what an 8 is, and how is this different to if I show you pictures of 7 or 6. All the computer does, and this is the magic that underpins everything that you see and we'll be talking about on this panel, is the computer tries to figure out how dark each pixel is. For every number 8 that I give it, tries to figure out how dark each pixel is. So for a computer, the number 8, or 8ness, becomes a string, simply a string of numbers that tells you how dark each pixel is. That's it. That is 8ness captured in a string of numbers. So when I show it a 7, it goes, well, the likelihood of that being an 8 is very low, because it doesn't map to what I think 8ness is. That's it. That's all the magic. And also, welcome to image recognition of the 80s and the 90s. Fast forward very quickly, we're still doing the same thing. If I take slightly more complicated than the number 8 and less complicated than a cat, I take this guy. I hear his name is Will Ferrell. He also dressed up as a cat, as you can see in that 4th picture up there. But if you try to recognize Will Ferrell, you're doing the same thing. First thing you do is get rid of color, because for image recognition, it's easier to do it without color. Then I try to tell how dark each pixel is, and Will Ferrell is like really complicated. So we do some fancier maths here, but I'm still trying to figure out how dark each pixel is and each pixel around it. I do more fancy maths to map out his whole face, which is really complicated. Then it gets even more complicated, because remember, I'm just trying to tell how dark each pixel is. So with bloody Will Ferrell, I can't tell where his face is and where the telephone pole behind him is, or the bush behind him. So I have to tell the computer, well, look for, I give it a mask, and I say, look for a thing that probably has like 2 eyes and a nose. So it figures where that is, and then Will Ferrell's face becomes, lo and behold, a bloody string of numbers that makes him different to the cat that we had in the previous picture. But that's it. That's all the magic behind the technologies that underpin everything that we do today with large language models and generative AI. Because what we can do, if we can figure out these large patterns in data, and remember, I'm not storing the 8s in the data, I'm not storing Will Ferrell's, just the likeness, the probability, the statistical probability that is Will Ferrell. I can now ingest the entire internet into this. And that is, remember, not just Wikipedia, but also that bloody subreddit that you got last night that you sent that you know you shouldn't have sent to someone. All of that goes in, right? And I encode that, I encode probabilities of what word goes next to what other word. If I can do that, I can basically build a glorified autocomplete. I can predict what the next word is likely to be. And with ChatGPT, we do some fancier mathematics on top of that, and there'll be opportunities to talk about it. But I can tell what the next word is. It's not a knowledge model, it's a language model. I'm simply predicting what the next word is. And on top of this, we build ChatGPT, and we build all the fancy things that give us image recognition and everything else. And the point to leave you with is that we got really good at this over the last couple of years. And when I say really good at this, it's basically indistinguishable from things that are actual pictures. And to prove that to you, and I'm going to end on this note, but to prove that to you, I've got 3 pictures here. I'm going to try to have you guess which one of this is fake and which one of this is real. These were generated with the same types of AI that we're now, instead of guessing whether or not it's Will Ferrell, using that to generate new faces. First one, and I'm going to have a show of hands in the room. First one, let's say, first one is a young human rights lawyer who just won a big case. Real or fake? Fake, actually. Who thinks they're fake? He's fake? About half the room thinks he's fake. Okay, second one is Sydney Uni graduate. She just finished up at the School of Education. She's looking forward to becoming a teacher. Fake? Whoa, Sydney Uni graduate. I'm sorry, honey. Last one, super-powered researcher, knows everything under the sun, is amazing at everything he does, works at the library, or at least used to. Fake? Whoa! About half the room think he's fake. Well, we're gonna give it away. The first one, this person does not exist, something to play with you. It's just a random face that we generated. The second one, you'll see a montage of all completely fake faces done by the New York Times, because the New York Times has a lot more money than the University of Sydney and can generate a lot of those faces. And the last one is Pat Norman. He works on our team, and we made him do that. Hi, Pat. A short intro to AI. But when you hear all we say, that's what underpins it.